Welcome back to Yanks Abroad live on Bleacher Report. We are recapping the 1-0 leg one win over Jamaica. We're going to go through our biggest takeaways from the match, discuss Poch, a little bit of who the man of the match was, and everything from not the most exciting match, but you will never be upset with the U.S. men's national team getting a win on a bad field in CONCACAF. We've seen this story 100 times before where we don't come away with quote unquote 3 points. So celebrate that and we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it sort of best, which is this was not an ideal situation for a match. The field was terrible. Obviously, unfortunate for Johnny Cardoso to get hurt early on. And so the whole kind of game plan got messed up. But my biggest takeaway is I'm still not convinced by what I'm seeing on the pitch. And that's a little bit frustrating. And we were live streaming and somebody asked, has the Pochettino appointment gone better as you expected or worse than you expected? And 3 matches in, I have to say it's going worse than I expected. I expected to see a little bit more of an understanding of structure of how this team was going to play, of a little bit better understanding of how this team was going to play. And at this moment, formation-wise, I understand what he's trying to do.
Yes.
But there's no high press. There's no intensity, which both of us really were looking forward to, is having a high-intensity team. And you know, we scored an early goal, and then the mentality went back to the mentality we saw under Berhalter for years, which was don't try to be risky and play with the ball. Defend deep, show no real sense of, going out and getting a second goal, putting the game away. And we almost paid for it multiple times. Matt Turner saved us with a penalty save and a couple other nice plays.
Yeah, I think, on top of that, Tim Ream potentially with a penalty. Like, I think our most frustrating part was this happens. It wasn't just Berhalter. This happens with so many teams as you get the early goal and then you pack it in and do everything opposite that got you into the position that gave you the lead in the first place. I think that was the most disappointing part for us. We looked great in the first 10 minutes. We score the goal, and then we get the great opportunity with Jedi. He took the shot on his right foot as opposed to cutting it back. But those were 2 really, really good opportunities. And then the next 30 minutes, I wouldn't say they dominated, but we didn't create a singular chance. I'm not sure. We talked about this our entire stream. I'm not sure we connected 10 passes for the rest of the first half. Like, when in our preview, we talked about how this team is set up to control this game. We didn't have as many attackers on the pitch, so the clear-cut attacking chances may come few and far between, but at least we're going to control the game. And for 25, 30 minutes in the first half after we're 1-0 up, we don't control the game. We give away sloppy turnovers, which result in a penalty, which was just absolutely cannot happen when the striker of Jamaica is turning Ream, then turning McKenzie, and then getting a foot in, creating a penalty on Matt Turner. Obviously a great save, but that is the result of essentially letting your guard down and not continuing to impose our will and the way we wanted to play from the first 10 minutes, the rest of the entire first half.
I mean, I think you said it best just in that last few words, is like imposing our will. I think we are not only on paper, but obviously a better, more well-rounded team than Jamaica. Yes, people are saying we didn't have our best starting 11. How many times does any team actually have their best starting 11? Like, to me, that's an irrelevant thing. And I think, yes, sometimes injuries pile up for clubs and countries or whatever, but this was close enough to our best 11. Again, I would have liked to see, I think we lost a lot of the controller type when Cardoso went off. And we talked about this a lot recently. Johnny Cardoso, to me, has become a Jorginho type controller, somebody who covers space. He's not overly athletic, but he is really good at making the right decision, when to play forward, when to play sideways, and kind of get you into those strings of passes that turn into attacking opportunities. He played a role in the opening goal, just in that exact same kind of place, finding those between the lines balls. But nonetheless, you brought on Tillman, a player we both really like, who didn't go out and attack the game at all. And I'm not trying to berate any of our players, but nobody imposed their will. No. And for a while, we blamed Berhalter for this.
Right.
And at a certain point, it becomes, when do the players have to start playing the way that we watch them play for their clubs? Malik Tillman has been incredible, not just for PSV in the league, in the Champions League. He had a 2-assist, 1-goal appearance in the Champions League.
First ever American to have a 3-goal involvement match in the Champions League.
He's got 4 goal involvements in the Champions League this year. Like, he needs to come out and show the form that he's in for the U.S. men's national team. That's how we become the best team on this side of the globe, or one of the best teams, and not just some middling team in the CONCACAF who plays on bad pitches and is boring to watch.
Yeah. I think the caveats are fair, which are a lot of injuries. So a lot of maybe not the first team or the first camp here because they weren't in the previous one due to injuries. I think it's fair to talk about the field. I mean, if you watch that match, you saw how bad the pitch was, a hot day, long grass, everything slowed down due to all the external factors. But we've talked about this so many times. We talked about this a lot in Copa. The refereeing was awful for everyone. The situations were awful for everyone. It's how do we make ourselves better than our opponent while having the same external factors that you can't control as a team? How do you rise above that and play better? And again, I don't think we did that. Now, I don't want to talk all negatives because we got a win in a 2-leg. Having your first leg be away and getting the 1-0 result is obviously great. Gives us a lot of confidence going into leg 2 at home. And we said we would not overreact until we saw this match coming on Monday. So I think good performances from Mark McKenzie, I think, is important to highlight. He came up clutch after the first mistake, which resulted in the penalty. We thought he was our best defender.
Yep.
Pulisic, as always, looked pretty involved. It can't go overlooked that Pepe, his one clear-cut chance, he did put it away. There were positives to take away, but to ultimately long-winded answer the question, we both agree that we're falling a little short of expectations right now under the Poch era. Is that a turn the alarm bells on? No. Is it just a little disappointing? Yes.
For sure. And I think one other player you didn't necessarily touch on, but one who I talk about a lot at the very least is Tanner Tessman, who you could just see some of the little touches he makes in those tight areas when we're playing out from a press, when he kind of helps us turn a corner.
Yep.
We haven't had a player who can do that really maybe ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so excited by the thought of having him in midfield and not having to play him as the lone 6. I really was excited to see him and Cardoso play together because it allows Tessman to move a lot more around, use both of his feet, use his physicality to kind of turn defenders and spray the ball. And we saw a little bit of that in the first 15 before Cardoso went out. And then he had to take on a little bit more defensive responsibility, obviously, with Tillman coming in. But Tanner Tessman, another one that was a bright spot tonight, and one that I think we'll see play again in the home match on Monday, which I pose a question to you is, what do we need to see on Monday that was different from tonight in order for you to feel good that I'm not going to see the U.S. men's national team again until March?
Yeah. So it's a good question. And our stream for the match, we talked about how slow and it didn't look like an amazing product. And they called us European merchants, or spoiled, whatever.
Snobs,
snobs.
I believe they called us.
They called us Euro snobs. What I want to see is we're going to a beautiful brand new St. Louis pitch. I want to see it look high-paced, fast, technical, one-touch play, balls in behind, balls across, good. I just want it to look like how it's going to need to look for the World Cup.
Yeah.
In these CONCACAF matches, unfortunately, the reality is it's always going to be a muck it up, especially on the road.
These pitches. Yeah.
It's always going to be a muck it up. A few yellow cards. Holgate obviously gets sent off with the red card. We know, we've watched CONCACAF too long to expect differently from these away matches. What I want to see is it look like how if we were to play, call it Denmark or an average European nation, how it should look in that match. We talked about it during Copa versus Euros, the difference of watching those two tournaments and just how insane that was to begin with. So that's what I want to see. Poch has coached the highest level in Europe. He should be able to bring those tendencies to players who are also playing at the highest level in Europe. It's not like we used to ask these players who are playing in the MLS or very low leagues in Europe or not getting time at the bigger clubs in Europe to go do what in theory we watch for these big clubs across Europe. They all do it. We watch it every single week. We cover it on our YouTube channel every single week. We know they can do it. I want to see it. I need to see it.
1000%. It's just at a certain point, these players need to bring, and we were talking about it even with England, right? It's like club fans always are complaining that players have to go play for their country and whatever. But when they show up and play for their country after they played 90 minutes in the Premier League the week before, 90 minutes in the Champions League, 90 minutes all in a space of 8 days, and then 3 days play for England, they don't look like they're walking around the pitch. They're pressing with intensity. Like, where was the pressing tonight? The ball was bobbling all over the place. Every time Jamaica got a chance, it was because they were pressing us high up the pitch and the ball was bobbling and they took advantage of a bad pitch. We never once tried to take advantage of a bad pitch and a team who's not as technically secure as we are, who wanted to just make it a physical match where they could outpower us. We didn't bring our own intensity to it. We got scared by that. We didn't win 50-50 balls. We didn't win second balls. And the few times that we did press high up the pitch and force them to go long into a place that they weren't comfortable, we weren't there to win the next ball.
Correct.
So
second balls were not good.
That to me is unacceptable. Those are things that no matter how good of the players are on the pitch, everybody is able to do that.
It's an effort thing.
And I think we'll get that back with Tim Weah. I think we both really feel that he presses well up the pitch. We're missing that with Balogun. I don't think Pepe is one of the great pressers of the ball. And Weston McKennie as the 10, he wasn't really working as hard as a trigger man as you would like to see. And it has something to do with the players out. And I know I already made the excuse that we shouldn't make that excuse.
Yes.
But we need to see the pressing. We need to see the effort level. Those are the things that I'm more looking for than winning 5-0 against Jamaica. It's the lack of athleticism and effort.
I truly think our problem, the more I'm thinking about it and watching these same players with different managers, is we may have a deep-rooted issue that is the reason Weston McKennie and Tim Weah are playing so well and giving everything for Juventus is because they know the second they're not in the squad. And the more I think about it, Poch is calling up essentially the exact same squad every time. Not that he really has a choice, especially with the injuries we're dealing with, but it's the same people starting outside of the midfield. Pretty much it's the same people starting. And it's like, for these players, again, it's not lost on them that the Nations League doesn't mean much really either. Like, I just don't know if until we have true layers of competition that this problem of lack of effort, unless it's literally the Copa America or the World Cup, will ever be fixed.
No doubt.
And if you don't...
Our camera froze.
Oh, no. All right. Well, if you're listening, you can still hear me. We're going to fix the camera. But yes, the question is can we get the question, I guess, in life is, can you get, with no threat of replacement, can you get the best out of someone? If you're at work and you feel like you're safe in your job, unless you truly have hunger to do more, most people in this world, where I feel like we're naturally made lazy, is to just do whatever is to do just enough. And I feel like these players right now are doing just enough and not wanting to be great, I would say.
And it's like what you said about Juventus and whatnot. The biggest issue to me about not having our best 11 is that there is no pressure that this spot is up for grabs.
Right.
Like, for example, Pepe right now is the only Sargent, Haji, Balogun, all hurt. Brandon Vasquez came in tonight. Yunus Musa, who actually I think played pretty well and actually did put in a good amount of effort. Who else is playing right wing right now? Like, Brandon Aronson hasn't done anything for the U.S. in a while. There is a level to that, but these players are at the top level in the world. They shouldn't need competition to make them try harder. And you have a new manager. Like, I don't see the passion from Pochettino on the sideline either. That's worrying to me.
I think it's just top to bottom. Maybe we've had this. Let me propose something which I think is wrong. But maybe we have this entire thing wrong, where it's like, is Poch super motivated? Like, he coached the top of the top, and now
when
he's
we talked about
Jamaica.
Coaches, we spoke about that a little bit.
And now he's going to Jamaica to play the CONCACAF Nations League on that. It's like, and then you bring Weah and McKennie out of playing Milan derbies, and they're now playing, like, we're humans. Where does that motivation come from?
And especially in a fixture-packed schedule like they're playing right now, where do you save your energy? Because it needs to be saved at some point. You can't go 100% in every match. Is it when I'm trying to convince Thiago Motta that you should start me over, Conte Sao or over Vlahovic? Or is it when this is already kind of my spot. We're playing Jamaica. We went up 1-0 5 minutes in. I think we can just see the game out. And it's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to any USA members.
No, it's not. It's kind of just the reality of our situation, unfortunately. And it's kind of like a big thing we talked about is like those 50-50s. We looked a little slow, and that was part of the grass and it being a hot night, long grass. But like, do I want to get stuck into a 50-50, accidentally get a stud up when I'm starting every week for AC Milan and all of a sudden we're competing for a Serie A title? I'm in the Champions League, and because I went in for a 50-50 in Jamaica against
well, look at Johnny Cardoso. He's in the best form of his career. He's
dominating Atletico Madrid.
Right, winning man of the matches for Betis. He's assisting in the Europa League for Betis. He's winning man of the matches against Atletico Madrid. All of the headlines are about how he's going to the Premier League next year. He's going to Tottenham. They're going to activate that clause, and then pops his hamstring. We don't know exactly what it is, but let's say he's hurt his hamstring. That doesn't only have an effect on him. That's an effect on all the other players on the pitch. They go, I don't want to get hurt in this game.
Yeah,
in Jamaica.
Time. I mean, that's a great point. I even touched on it without even thinking about the fact that, like, you were like, I'm surprised Chris Richards didn't get 15 and 20 in this match to get him back integrated. And it's like, we just saw one of our best new young players get injured. Like, he's bringing Chris Richards the right to, like, again, the entire prospect of this situation is unserious, as we've discussed. The entire proposition is too unserious.
So how do we fix that from now to the World Cup? I don't know what our friendly schedule exactly looks like.
I don't know what it is.
But do we need to be having U.S. men's national team camps in Europe and playing European sides? Is that a possibility? Because I think most of the squad is already over there. You have them all flying across the Atlantic Ocean, all but Zendejas, Vasquez, Cowell, Miles Robinson, Tim Ream, Stefan, Schulte. So 7 of the 25 are here. The rest are in Europe.
The answer is, I think that the only answer is playing top level teams. It's like when you, regardless of friendly, like when Joe Scally is lined up against Vinicius Jr. in a friendly in Brazil.
By the way, he did great against Brazil.
He's giving 100%. It's Vinny. I want to show the world that I'm class and I can defend Vinny. The answer is you go to Europe, you see, we play France, you see a front three of Mbappe, Griezmann, and Olise. Like, you're getting 100%. Everyone wants to prove it on the biggest stage. As we said, people struggled to find the stream for tonight's match.
Yeah.
Like,
no, there's no doubt.
I mean, even us, we're a small U.S. men's national team podcast about to be massive. But as of right now, we have 15 viewers in the chat. During Copa, we have 100 viewers in the chat. You know, like, these things are...
I'm just looking at our friendlies coming up here. It's there's none scheduled, but they are planning on playing England in America at some point next summer. That's the only one that they have.
There. Like, that's a very real thing. You're competing with football. Like, if you're an American, how many people do you think watch this match tonight?
Well, that's the other issue, right? It's like the scheduling of it makes no sense. We're playing Thursday and Monday night during football season. Right. Like, why don't we play Friday and Tuesday in football season? We're playing Thursday night going up against primetime football. We're playing Monday night going up against primetime football. You have to watch it on Max or on TNT, which is not a channel everybody has, and they're not paying to watch the U.S. That's not how you grow the game. It's the same issue, by the way, with the MLS package on Apple TV Plus. If you are not already an MLS fan, you're not taking the risk on $15 a month to watch the MLS on Apple TV Plus or whatever it is.
And it's also like, if you are in England, what Sky Sports 1 is showing the England match. And it's just, it's always been a tough reality of we are a soccer fourth country. It's an uphill battle that we come off negative. We are here for the ride, and we want.
And we're getting agitated, not agitated, but we're passionate because we want it to continue to grow.
We're passionate
because there's so much potential. And 2026, I think. I'm worried that we're getting complacent, that everyone's like 2026 is going to be this huge thing for soccer in the country. It's not going to be some huge thing.
If people don't buy in.
People aren't bought in beforehand. They show up, don't really know what's happening in the first game, kind of maybe get into it in the second game. Third game, they're into it, and then we're out of the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, then where do we go?
Agreed. Then it's like, then you know what it is?
Then our next match is a friendly in November.
No, what it is it's like, oh, that was then it's like, all right, the U.S. is out. Like, I didn't really care about them to begin with because they never gave me a reason to. That's really cool. France and Spain just played in the World Cup final here. That was amazing. The World Cup was here. Okay, great. And that's it. Right. And then, like, there's no continuation. I don't know what the answer is, and I think we should stay more specific to this Jamaica match because we're getting in a big macro discussion. But
I think it all relates to the match and the fact that it's like we're sitting here, we are as passionate as anyone about the U.S. men's national team.
And we're still real about the fact that it's like
this was not a fun match to watch.
This was not entertaining. If we lost, we would be upset about the bigger picture, but that result meant nothing.
And the fact that, like, if you think about scarcity and scarcity economics, like this is so few games, a loss should feel massive. But instead it feels small.
Yeah.
And that's just because, like, what we're watching doesn't feel like it's a sport sometimes when you're watching on these pitches that are all chopped up and the players aren't giving it their all.
Yes. The resources don't feel serious, which makes the matches don't feel serious, which makes the players playing in the matches don't feel super serious, which if you're exuding all of that from somewhere that we're not involved in the U.S. Soccer Federation, we are not at that match that is going on. If we are feeling that from our couches hundreds of miles away, it's just going to be tough. How do we get a casual to start caring about the U.S. men's national team if that is what they watched?
Imagine we weren't streaming tonight and we were hanging out with our buddies who maybe some are soccer fans. We're like, oh, let's go watch the U.S. men's national team game. Do you think anyone would be watching by 20 minutes in?
I'm leaving there. That is the biggest waste of time. Like, I could have done 100 more productive things 100%. Than watch that match tonight. And that's sad because I don't know if, like, England played, who'd they play today?
Greece?
Yes. And it's like, that wasn't a super competitive match, but like it feels like it still meant something.
Well, and it also has to do with the atmosphere and what you're seeing on TV and whatever, but we'll reel it in here and we'll go man of the match from this performance. Who was it for you?
I'm going to give you two. I'm going to go first half Pulisic, second half Mark McKenzie. Pulisic, I thought, picked up a ton of good spaces, obviously got the assist. And then second half, and then Mark McKenzie actually didn't have a good first half. And then second half, I thought McKenzie was easily our best player, maybe with Tessman. I thought he made a lot of good blocks, some good last-ditch efforts. And I need to give credit to Yunus Musa. Like, it all happened very quick on that quick free kick, but like he very clearly saved a goal.
No doubt about it. I would probably just go Pulisic because I think he was great, obviously, first 10 minutes. Then I think he was pretty poor for the next 30, but I actually thought he took on a lot of responsibility in the second half, trying to pick up the ball deeper, to get more involved, which he needs to do as the leader of the team. I don't care if he's wearing the captain's armband or not. Tried to pick up the ball deeper, ran with it, got multiple yellow cards from people chopping him from behind. He knows what comes with carrying the ball in CONCACAF, and he still takes the burden of it.
And everyone came to defend him, and did you see the recent clip that came out? They're doing the documentary on Pulisic, and a clip came out where it was before, I forget what match, but they're in the huddle before the match starts. And to me, this feels like singling out one player would be a bad thing, but Matt Turner goes, we protect this man tonight.
And by the way, Anthony did that. Exactly. Right.
They're going to chop him down. They're going to do everything they can to take him out of the game, protect him. He is our leader. And I love that from Matt Turner. I've always been like, Matt Turner is our reality, and I actually don't mind it. And he made a great save tonight. You're a little bit on the other side on Matt Turner, but
I think I have PTSD from his time at Arsenal, potentially.
That's fair. Yeah, I think overall, when you take a step back,
we won.
A tough Jamaica match, bad field, we won. Pepe scored in a start. Pulisic got an assist. We kept a clean sheet. Poch got a win in his first competitive match. I mean,
on paper,
if you didn't watch the match,
if you watch the highlights, we looked pretty good. We made a penalty save. It's not bad.
We just are in the business of like,
we watch every match. We watch it multiple times.
Butterflies and roses. You know?
And also, we're very deep in how these guys are performing week in and week out in Europe. and know what they can bring.
Right. If I didn't know how good all these, I would tell you that they're all average and they all
Right.
play.
Like we are week by week going frame by frame through most of these matches, picking out the best moments. When you don't see that translate into the country, that
it's frustrating.
It's just frustrating.
We are happy with the result. We just want to see more because we know for a fact, it's not like an opinion. We know for a fact these players have an extra gear. And that's why we say we're going to stay optimistic until we don't see it on a nice pitch at home where Jamaica should become. It should be a 3-1 or a 3-0 on Monday.
Yes, at home, the ball should be moving quickly.
And
Jamaica needs to score.
Right. It should be
the worst thing that can happen is we give up an early goal.
Yeah. Right. And then they said, and yeah, trying. Why does that happen? Okay. Yeah, so we're going to stay optimistic despite what this may have a good reality. I feel like this is like we come from a place like the tough love people where we want to see, we're like a tough love dad. We want to see the best out of our son. We see so much potential in him. He just needs to get his act together, and we need to foundationally fix some things. He has the makings to be a great kid, and this U.S. soccer team in this country has the makings of being something great.
Okay, fix it. Starting 11 for Monday. That gets us this exciting 3-0, 3-1 win. Would love 2 clean sheets, 3-0. Exciting, realistic starting 11 for Monday.
I hate that you said realistic because I was saying tactically unrealistic. I want him to play a more traditional 4-2-3-1 and see what that looks like rather than playing the 3-back, 5-back in possession, whatever you want to call it. But I would say, assuming Cardoso is an injury that can't come back, let's go Richards from the bottom. Turner, Scally, Richards, McKenzie, Robinson. Then we go Tessman, and I want to see Tessman McKinney. I know it's unrealistic. I don't know how unrealistic, actually, after tonight it is. It's probably going to be Tessman Buzio. I would like to see Tessman McKinney and then go Pulisic, Tillman, Weah, Pepe. I know that's like uber attacking.
So you didn't take the realistic thing into account.
It's super attacking, but I just want to see us create 4.2 XG in a match. I just want to see us create goals.
Look at you. You love XG
Even
now?
if we're leaking on the other side.
If we create 4 XG.
I haven't seen an entertaining U.S. men's soccer match in so long.
If we create over 4 XG.
I know that's a lie.
I will buy you a plane ticket to the next U.S. men's national team match. So you can do this live stream from the stadium.
If you give me that lineup, I think it's capable of
4 XG. Do you know how much 4 XG is?
Yeah, we'd probably have to score 7 goals.
Yeah. Or 4 literal tap-ins or penalties.
Right. Yeah, I know it's unrealistic, and that's a high number. When's the last time we've seen an entertaining U.S. soccer match?
The Panama match was entertaining. It was frustrating. It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
We just dominated and created chance after chance and just imposed our will, and we're amazing. When? Or maybe I just need to.
You need to wake up.
We're just not good enough to do that.
Here's what's the 11's going to be.
We are better. We are.
Well, ideally under Pochettino, that's what's coming.
We are widely better than these other players wise.
It's not even close.
That's what I'm saying. So how does it not come off?
Because we're going to go Turner.
Yep.
Scally, Richards, McKenzie, Robinson. I like that. Although I think Ream's his captain, so Ream will play. But
agreed.
Tessman, Buzio.
Yeah.
Pulisic, Tillman. Musa, Weah.
Pepe starts after.
Yeah, Pepe starts after.
He clearly. One thing about Poch.
I mean, I just don't think
he
Weah
likes
starts.
a target man, physical.
Pepe's starting. Pepe's 100% starting. We don't need to argue about that.
Well, you just put Weah.
I know. I was trying to get
Weah.
Weah.
Weah. Weah has to start. He's 3-4 in his for Juve.
Also, Pochettino will never get to see Weah start until March.
Right. At this point, if what we all said, what we said the entire time about them knowing the reality of these matches actually don't really matter, then Poch should be taking them as friendlies and trying different things just in a more competitive
I just think
spirit.
Poch really likes Musa. From what I can tell,
he's very clearly he needs him to play that right wing back.
I would say his favorite players right now are Pulisic, Ream, and Musa.
Sure.
Like, if I were to just say the 3 players, I think Busio would be close on that list as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Busio.
I mean, he played great in the last 15 minutes. He's played well for the U.S. He played well in the Olympics. He's playing well for Venezia. He's a good player. I'm a big fan of Busio's.
Really?
As people mentioned in the chat.
I had no idea.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. If you are new here, we're Yanks Abroad. We are over on YouTube, live streaming, watching along, giving our commentary every single U.S. men's national team game, and then doing these post-match reactions here on Bleacher Report. You can find us there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel every single week. On Tuesday morning, a new episode comes out in which we detail the 3 best performances from a U.S. men's national team player playing in Europe. We go frame by frame, pick out the best frames and moments, analyze them, talk them through how they relate to the U.S. men's national team. Then we do power rankings. We update you on all the players playing in Europe and keep you ready for the next U.S. men's national team match. We're Yanks Abroad. I'm Will. That's Casey. Thanks for watching.
Peace.